A few years ago, we ran a test with our Ford Maverick, testing the fuel efficiency with the tonneau cover open and with it closed, and we found that the truck was more efficient with the tonneau cover installed. So we're going to run that test again here with the new Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road and its hybrid iForce Max powertrain, and see if we get the same sort of results with the tonneau cover effect. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2026 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road Hybrid. In this test, instead of doing the standard 50 miles out and 50 miles back, I'm going to be running 3 different segments. We're going to run the first one with our tonneau cover closed, then I'm going to come back, fill up again. We're going to run the second one, tonneau cover open, and then I'm going to come back and do it again with the tonneau cover closed to try to rule out any sort of discrepancies there and see if we can get a more solid scientific result. But we're going to be doing 25 miles out and 25 miles back, averaging 70, well, we won't be quite averaging 70 miles per hour. We'll be going 71, but of course, since we're running the shorter test, our average won't quite be 70 miles per hour. So, is it a perfect science? No, but I'm hoping we can find some valuable data here. Before we get started though, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is my buddy's truck. He bought this with his own hard-earned cash a number of months ago, and he's been enjoying it. He wanted a truck that was good for daily driving, good for going and doing some camping and some off-roading, and also kind of cool. And so he's been happy with all of those. But one of the great things about owning a truck, especially something like a Tacoma, is upgrading it. So we got him some upgrades from RealTruck. And, of course, the star of the show here for this one is the Back Revolver XT4S, I believe is the name. It's a little bit of a convoluted name here. But what's important for you to know is, right off the bat, it's a bit of a pricey tonneau cover. You can go and get yourself some real cheap tonneau covers off Instagram if you want. But this one has a few key benefits that we wanted for him. First of all, hard aluminum slats, which means when he's got product here in his truck bed and it's closed up and locked, somebody can't just walk by, stab into it, and steal what's inside. So that was important to him. Next, you can roll it up as opposed to something like a trifold and actually still use your truck bed here. This is the short bed version of the Tacoma, not a super large bed, but you can easily open this up and slap that in there, and then you got the thing open, and you can use the truck bed. And then if you need even more, if this this is probably about 8 inches or so when it's fully rolled up and pushed. If it's still too much for you, you can super easy pop this off and fully remove this and act like it's not even installed. Then on top of all that, we've got T-rails in here, which means Anish's just going to be able to install extra accessories on here. He could do a tent if he wanted to, put surfboard racks on. He plans on using that as well. So this is a high quality tonneau cover, and it provides a lot of functionality and usability for your truck. On top of that, we got a few other accessories for him. This is the Bed Rug Classic. He likes this because he actually uses this truck bed when we're off-roading or stuff like that. He likes to get in here. He likes things not getting scratched up from the truck bed underneath. This bridges the gap in between the tailgate and the truck bed. It adds a nice little bit of softness in there as well. Works for him using this kind of from a personal aspect as well as for putting stuff in there. Why isn't this powering up this time? I don't know. It's strange. We seem to have very much angered the truck. Let's just do that. How long do we think those electronically open and closed tailgates are going to be functional? How many hundreds of thousands of miles? Anyway, the last thing we got him are these Ionic Nerf 4 running boards here, Nerf boards, if you will. He needed this to help his older mother get in and out of his truck. Kind of adds to the look of the truck, and even when we took it off-roading, didn't interfere with the ground clearance or anything like that. He said they were super easy to install. So if you want to get any of these accessories for your Tacoma or other vehicle, check the link below. Get a little bit of a discount, I believe, if you use our code DailyMotor, and you certainly help support the channel. So big shout out to RealTruck. Also, it should be noted that Anish has removed the air dam from his truck here. The TRD off-roads, I believe, came with an air dam, and he removed that pretty much right away. So if we're not quite getting full 24 miles per gallon as the EPA recommends, that could be a culprit right there. So there are a lot of people out there who will tell you that tonneau covers improve fuel economy on pickup trucks. It smooths out the airflow back there, doesn't have as much turbulence, and therefore results in better highway fuel economy. And like I said, from our minimal testing with the Ford Maverick, we did see that. So I'm curious to see if we'll see that again here with the back revolver, BAK, interesting name there, on this Toyota Tacoma. I'm also just curious what sort of fuel economy we're going to get in general with this hybrid max powertrain. Now, a few things to note for the test. Outside temperature will be somewhere in the mid 60s, probably right around there. We are going to be doing this test at night when there's less traffic so that we can cruise uninterrupted at 71 miles per hour. We've got the tire pressure set at their door placard at 30 psi cold. Now, that's a little bit low for what we're seeing in modern vehicles. I mean, these are some larger Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires, and I guess with the truck, even with the weight of the battery and everything, it doesn't need to have that much air in there. But I bet you if you ran closer to 33, 35 or so psi, you might get a little bit better fuel economy. But either way, we test at what the factory tests and sets the vehicle at, so that's what we're running. And I'm going to be running the climate control at 73 degrees auto. So without any further ado, let's head to the test. Here we are in the evening, got the tank all topped off, put in just over 2.5 gallons of regular gasoline into the tank. So we are going to reset the vehicle's fuel economy readout and trip A, and we are ready to begin. Got the truck in eco mode. There's also normal and sport drive mode. Too high for the drivetrain. Let's get our climate going at 73 auto as well. Now it's funny, some people like to say, oh, you should do this test in normal mode. That's how most people drive. Well, funny enough, when I picked up this truck from my buddy, he had it in eco mode. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. But then after driving it for a little bit, I realized, oh yeah, in normal mode, the throttle is super jumpy. Whereas in eco, it actually feels decently refined. So, doing this test in eco. Now, typically when we do these tests, we run at 71 miles per hour, and that gives us about a moving average of 70 miles per hour after 100 miles and just one turnaround, and a little bit of getting on and off the highway there. However, since we're doing 50 miles for these tests, it's going to be a little less than a 70 mile per hour moving average, but either way, we're going to get up to highway speed here. Looks like the speedometer is dead on accurate. So I'm going to settle in at 71 and continue on. Here we are, 71 on the dash, coming to 71 on the GPS. Initial highway impressions here with the Tacoma TRD off-road. Seems middle of the road for tire noise. Pretty good for wind noise. Seems decently comfortable. Alright, so I'm going to continue on with this portion of the test. We're going to get back to the pump, see what sort of numbers we're getting, and head out again with the cover open. Alright, we are coming on into the end of the first, what would it be, period? If this were a hockey game? First period, one of three. And we are looking at 22 miles per gallon according to the truck's gustometer. Pretty smooth, not much traffic here Tuesday night, so I think even as we get later on into the night, things should move on pretty similarly. Been averaging 67.1 miles per hour according to our GPS, and that is, I think, including stops. I don't think that's a moving average. Interestingly, though, the truck's trip meter is vastly below the GPS. So we've done 50.5 miles right now. The truck only thinks we've done 49.3. So that means over 100 miles, you're going to be 2 miles lower on the odometer than the actual GPS, which means, all right, so 220 for 1,000. The truck's going to be 200 miles low on the odometer after 10,000 miles. So Anish is pretty much going to get about an extra 1,000 miles on his warranty because this thing reads so low. It's kind of crazy. Here I thought I was recording that refuel, but apparently I was not. So missed that whole section right there. But I ended up putting in just over 2.2 gallons here into the tank of the Tacoma, and I will have the readout right here for you of the actual math, and we'll maybe go over it again next time we stop. But it was 22.5 miles per gallon here with the tonneau cover closed and the Tacoma TRD off-road. Now, mind you, we are running without the air dam, and maybe that is what is getting us some slightly lower fuel economy numbers. Not quite sure, but a little bit lower than the 24 from the EPA. So now we've got the tonneau cover open. We're back out, topped off again, obviously. Everything reset, ready to do the second portion. We got the backflip tonneau cover folded up nicely. I'll have to show you because I thought I was filming, but it rolls up super nice and easy, and then has these little straps to keep it open. So we'll check that out here once we get back. Side note, this is the third car already in the 52 miles that I've been doing this testing tonight that I've seen without their lights on. Guys, use your automatic headlights. Every car for the last, 15 years or so has them. Just leave them on auto, and then you never have to be one of those dangerous rolling blackouts that we see on the road. Well, what do we have here? At least according to the truck's readout, we are getting better fuel economy on period number 2 here. Second period, third, running with the tonneau cover open. We're looking at 22.5 MPG, whereas we were at 22.0 at this point in the last round. Now, I suspect that it has something to do with the truck getting fully up to operating temperature. When we're talking not just coolant, but oil and transmission, everything getting fully up to temp, cruising along here. So it'll be very interesting. That's part of the reason why I wanted to run this test back to back and do it one more time here with the tonneau cover closed to see what sort of results we get on that last one. But either way, I'm going to get it back to the pump here, fill it up, see what our numbers are, and then head out one last time. And maybe this time I'll actually remember to record the fill-up process. That's the tough thing with these late night tests is it's a different routine for me. So we are here. We put in 2.173 gallons back into the truck, which is a little bit less than the last one. And I just closed up the cover, but let me show you again real quick, since I've already done this once, how easy this is. Pop open, roll it back, and then you see these little mechanisms, and you grab this strap. And instead of one of those kind of clicks, which we had on our Maverick cover, which you kind of had to pry in there, this is even easier. You just go in sideways and then twist, and look at that, it's latched. Do that on both sides. I mean, that is fantastic. Our last one was right here. It's still up on my calculator. 51.7 divided by 2.295 gallons is giving us 22.5. This time we put in a little less fuel. We put in 2.173, which has given us a significantly better. Oof, okay, so yeah, I would almost want to go a little bit more with the truck's readout here, because the truck was 0.6 miles per gallon better, whereas this readout is almost a whole mile per gallon better. But let's give a slight round down. So 23, we're looking at about let's do 22.5 so far with the tonneau cover open or closed, and then 23.5 with it open. So this will be the real interesting one here. We're closed again. The truck's all warm. We're topped back off with fuel. We're going to reset everything one more time. One more time. And we are ready to go. Well, I've got to say, this is not what I expected. We are looking at 22.1 miles per gallon coming into the end of the third period of our three-way test. That's essentially just what it was the first time we were coming in here. Now, I am sorry to report that this third leg was not as clean as the other two. We had, as you can see right here, construction throughout the test. We had it back there as well. We came down to not quite a stop, but a crawl for a little bit of time. Our average speed right now is only 65.1, so a few miles per hour lower than the other two tests. And we had two small bits of downpour rain. So unfortunate that theoretically those would affect the fuel economy. And like I said, I didn't expect that. I would have fully expected the tonneau cover to improve the fuel economy. Is there a possibility that something went weird with the test? Yeah, sure. If time and money and my own energy levels weren't a factor, I'd run it a fourth time. I'd open the tonneau cover back up and we'd go and see if it really was indeed more efficient. But we're going to have to go based on what we got right now. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm exhausted. We're probably going to wrap up the video in its entirety in the morning. But I'm going to get it back to the pump here. We're going to fill it up one last time and see what our final numbers are. So here was that last fill. We put in 2.238 gallons. So again, a little bit more than that middle run. What was that? 51.7 miles divided by 2.238. Is that our final number? 238? Yeah. So that's given us 23 miles per gallon here at highway speeds. So we saw 22.5, 23.5, and then 23. Now again, none of this is an exact science, but I do think, surprisingly, what it's showing us is, at least here on the Tacoma, tonneau cover not really making that much of an appreciable difference. Now, I don't know if it's something to do with the short bed on this truck, the short cab. Maybe it's this little kind of gurney flap looking lip on the tailgate. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't necessarily rush out and spend $1,000 on a tonneau cover just to improve your fuel economy a little bit if you own a Tacoma. That being said, if you do have a tonneau cover on there because you appreciate all of the benefits, like this back revolver T4 or whatever it is does offer, then maybe you'll see a little bit of an improvement. Your mileage may vary, as they like to say, but I was surprised that we weren't seeing a little bit more of a definitive result. And if you go off the numbers we saw, it actually hurt our fuel economy to have this tonneau cover closed. So interesting there. Also interesting to see that in either tonneau cover configuration, we were not able to match the EPA's result. Now again, that might have to do with us not having the, what do you call it, the air dam on the front of this one. I don't know if it would be a little bit better with that on there, but either way, not a terrible figure, getting around that 22 to 23 mile per gallon figure here for the Tacoma. And having the hybrid, I know, is going to help a little bit for stop and go and slower speed city driving. So let me know in the comments, have you seen fuel economy differences with your tonneau cover open or closed? Let us know. Again, I wish we could do 300 miles multiple times and get all sorts of data, but that's what we got here for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on this Tacoma TRD Off-Road, check the link below. We took it for a little bit of off-roading and talked with Anish about the improvements we did and kind of why he purchased this truck. We've also got a ton of coverage on the current gen Tacoma, so check the link below for that as well. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.